And welcome back, gamers. We are here in Dwarf Fortress in the Lazy Newb Pack. You might be wondering why you can see my entire screen today. I hope nothing embarrassing is up. I better check and make sure, actually. Yep, seems to be. Okay, so this is obviously a little bit different. So, as you can see here in Dwarf Fortress, we have just had some migrants. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. And so what we did is we pulled up something in Lazy Newb Pack. So let me pull up that UI here. So this is the Lazy Newb Pack, obviously. It says so right here. So if you go to Utilities, there is something called Dwarf Therapist, and it'll have some EXEs, and you can run the program, or you can refresh the list depending on what's going on. So you might be wondering, well, okay, what's this about? Over here, since we have some migrants, it's the best time to show you Dwarf Therapist. I have gone through, and I'll probably do it maybe on the next wave of migrants, the old-fashioned way, but if you don't want to necessarily go through every single dwarf, this is definitely a quick way to do it. So, as you can see, it sort of labels how many dwarves we have available. So if we come over here and hit the U key, which shows us all of our citizens, we have 8. So that means we're going to get approximately, probably about 4 migrants here. So as soon as it labels migrants, it'll cap out over here to how many you'll get. Over here, it basically shows you what they're good at, based on these little squares. So if we go over to military, you'll see that there are all these little tiny black squares. It'll be related to their name and their skill. So here's the skill, Sword Dwarf. One of our newly sent dwarfs here will be a Sword Dwarf. He's a competent Sword Dwarf with some dodging, so he'll be good for our military. That will definitely probably get started this episode. So if you want to include that person in using that skill, unfortunately in military you can't really do that because you can't say, hey, use your sword to hit things. That's not really how it works. So what you'll do is you'll come over here. Unfortunately, these new dwarves aren't particularly skilled. This one in fact might even be a child because it has no skills whatsoever. But as you can see, these little black squares are highlighted, so I can click on this, and it'll mean it excludes. I no longer want this dwarf to process plants. So this means the tiny square means that they have this skill, and the purple square, or however you happen to see that around it, means I've selected that. So if I want this new dwarf to do, like, well, we have 3 miners. How about carpentry, wood cutting, and farming? Maybe something else. How about milling? So as you can see, it will label all of your changes over here. You can collapse them, or you can expand them just to show, and then you can commit changes or clear changes. If you're like, actually, that's really dumb, I want to do something else, you can definitely clear those, or you can commit them. So we're going to go ahead and commit those changes. So now all of these migrants will already have these skills applied to them. So we are here looking at the migrants. So back in the game, you hit A to view your announcements and Z to zoom to location. So as you can see, the selector is over here in this area. So that's where our migrants will be coming from. So we're expecting 4 per Lazy Dwarf Therapist. So 1, 2, oh, that's a creature. Okay, so the first one that's come through is Udrum Morlasash. Probably butchered that. So as you can see, it's this person here. So he had no particular skills, and that's coming across in the V viewer. So if we hit V, we can look at him. So he's just a novice fisher dwarf and fish dissector, so we may as well throw that down there. Where is that? Oh yeah, it's probably down here. Yeah. And he already has those selected. So, actually, does he? Yeah, right there. Okay, so, but we've given him a few extra jobs here. So if we go to P for preferences, L for labor, we can see that Mr. Erdem here now has woodworking, carpentry, and woodcutting, which is what we applied here. And he has the farming skills we applied, which is the farming fields, which is over here, and the milling. Was he one of the military dwarves? He was not. He has no military skills, and he has no social skills. We don't really care about social skills, and you can definitely filter dwarves if you happen to know their names and that sort of thing. But we don't really care at this point. So here we have a stray lamb, and a stray water buffalo. So that's kind of important, as you recall, as I hope I have brought up. Yeah, the pastures, we're going to want to apply both of those. So hit I to go into zone, Shift N to apply creatures to this, and we want to add those two creatures just because we don't want them to starve to death. Because apparently, if you're not in a pasture, you're too dumb to eat grass, which sucks. So, to view the dwarves directly, hit V, and this is a metalsmith, so if we want to be extra cautious, we can go here, and we see that it's Washed Mountain, or English Steindenol. Let's see. Here it is. He's our new dwarf. So let's see. Just to see where I'm looking at. So he is an armorsmith, weaponsmith, furnace operator, and he doesn't really do anything else. So we can see that here, where if we go back into the game, we can scroll down to his metalsmithing, and we can see that those are the three selected. But we don't want to go through all of these menus with the plus and minus and all of that, so we can go ahead and select sort of some things we want him to do. So let's have him... Let's have him... Let's have him be a bone crafter, stone crafter, and wood crafter. So we're going to go ahead and commit those changes. We'll come back out here, and as you can see, his crafts have now changed. So we're basically saving time. The way I do it traditionally, both in the classic game and usually in the Newb Pack, is I basically switch over and I would do it all by hand, so I don't usually use this. This is a little bit foreign to me, tiny bit. But it is something that can definitely be used. So this is a spear dwarf, so he will probably be in our military. I kind of want the sword dwarf to be in charge. We actually have a hammer dwarf as well. It also tells you their experience levels. It's quite a powerful little tool, and you can go into scripting, you can do all kinds of stuff, you can read in dwarves. It's a powerful little tool, but that's basically the general overview. It's pretty easy, it's just point and click kind of thing. Obviously we can't do it in the military, but we can be like, yeah, we want all of this, or we like, wait, no, those are dumb choices, and you can clear it. So this is Dwarf Therapist. It comes with Lazy Newb Pack, and if you definitely don't like to go through and monitor all dwarves as they come in, I highly recommend Dwarf Therapist. And you can definitely close it and open it when you get migrants and that sort of thing, and you can kind of keep track of what you have and what's busy and all of that sort of thing. Alright, so I think just because this is a little bit of a special video, we will only have it do this particular part. It also tells you what their current job is, which you can highlight here. No job, no job, no job. So you can definitely see, like, hey, this guy doesn't have any job. What a jerk. You can kind of tell him what to do and kind of manage that way. Basically, what I do is, just because I'm so familiar with the game, as dwarves come in and I realize that there's more idlers, I'll basically go into the U menu, and I will see who sort of doesn't have a job, and you can tell if you can zoom to creature, which is C, and you can kind of see what jobs they have and what skills they have with G and P and that sort of thing, and you can assign them jobs based on what you think you need. Like if you keep getting messages, like if you keep trying to make stone crafts and they just never get done, you can always give more dwarves that. Like, it never really matters that they're new to something, like it'll hurt the quality, but the more you have them do it, the higher the better they'll get at it, and the higher the quality will become. So it's sort of not necessarily that bad. The only time you would really want to be concerned about it is with metal goods, just because they're kind of expensive to make. But sometimes you just don't have the opportunity, so it's best just to be like, all right, well, the first handful's going to be crap, but after that, well, we're going to have a really good smith, and he'll be producing stuff. So it's something to consider. In your first playthrough, which is what we're assuming here, I wouldn't really be too worried about it. You're basically just trying to get your sea legs for Dwarf Fortress, and this is basically some tools to help you out, just to keep dwarves busy. So I hope this has been helpful. Excuse me. And I will end it here, and I will say I have been Draxxinusam, you have been wonderful, and we hope to see you here next time in Dwarf Fortress. Have a good one.